I rise today to honor the nearly 3,000 souls that were taken from us much too soon on September 11, 16 years ago. Like many others, the events of September 11, 2001 are forever etched to my memory. On that day, I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, serving in the state legislature, and recall an aide coming in to share the news. Naturally, when hearing about the first plane hitting the World Trade Center, we all thought it was a terrible accident that had occurred. My colleagues and I were in a state of shock and grief when we heard about the second plane and the subsequent attacks that followed. What I remember most is the feeling of abject horror and disbelief we experienced on that day. That horror is still felt by the family members who were left behind, robbed of their loved ones who were violently taken too soon. I often think of the brave first responders who ran towards danger with thought of little else other than to save their fellow Americans. The terror attack seems surreal, and yet the aftermath has a finality which does not dissipate with time. As years pass, the shock of the attack has diminished, but the memory of the feeling of hope that arose from the acts of selfless Americans is stronger. In my mind, one of the very worst events in human history became overshadowed as the very best in us as a people was made evident through countless acts of kindness and dignity. It is this dignity we must hold on to in order to honor the fallen. From the first responders, citizens, volunteers, and finally the devoted souls on board Flight 93, I remember the moments in which the very best parts of Americans shone brightest. These moments include when our citizens were no longer categorized by their differences, but were defined by their shared determination, not only to survive, but also to overcome an unthinkable tragedy. If a student asks me about my memories of September 11th, I always tell them honestly of the horror I felt, and I tell them of the hope that emerged as our people did their level best to turn evil into good. While I will never forget September 11, 2001, and the lives that were forever lost to us on that day 16 years ago, I take some comfort in knowing that a loving and never-changing God called them to heaven to live in His presence forever. Now more than ever before, we must recall the sacrifices made by so many in the aftermath of September 11th, and recall that freedom is never truly freely given. It is earned, it is hard fought for, and is something we must all work together to continue to achieve. May God bless all of those who lost their lives on September 11th, those who were left behind, and those who continue to fight for our freedom. I yield back.
Gentlelady